From the ECSI Sports Studios and the #1 sports investors in America, we bring you the closing bell. As the market closes, legends Jeff Dawson and Riley Magnuson bring you all the sports investing tips for tonight's matchups. If you want to learn more from the two legends at the desk, make sure you stay tuned to the closing bell. ECSI fans, do you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all of your sports books and track all of your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You can also sign up for sportsbooks and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as they're the best account on the platform. Head to the App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire to download the app.
Good evening, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the co-host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your closing bell for December 11, 2023. Another Monday, a new week, a fresh start, a new beginning. Just 20 days left in 2023. Hope everyone survived the weekend. What a Friday and Saturday I had. I'll wait till I bring Riley on to go over that. Shout out to the gentlemen behind the desk in glass, Joseph Shea, Evan Lewis, Cade Horton, Alu, and Mr. Bennett himself. Shout out to our proud sponsor and partnership, WagerWire. If you have not downloaded the app, please run over to Google Play or wherever you download the apps. It's free. Get yourself acclimated to start tracking your bets, figuring out your ROI. Maybe start grabbing some free promos and match plays from the sportsbooks and casinos on that app. Sync up all the sportsbooks and download them, available to you, so you can start window shopping like the rest of us here that we try to do on a day-to-day basis. And it is that time of year, so please, if you're looking for some flash cash, send an email to affiliates@wagerwire.com. Tell them JD from ECSI sent you. Travis, Zach, the rest of their community and team will take good care of you. So without further ado, let's bring him in, the one and only Mr. Southside Riley himself. Afternoon, sir.
Afternoon/evening, my friend. Good to see you again. Sounds like you had a heck of a weekend over there on the East Coast, as you obviously always are. But you know what I mean over there. It's even when you're going to a football game, it seems like it's a different world than where you already are, anyways. So nonetheless, awesome scenes from what I saw there. Enjoyed the game myself from the comfort of my home here, but nonetheless. Obviously, a heck of a football weekend as well, at least in the NFL, outside of where you are on Saturday, and then leading into two games tonight. So I am, as always, with my Packers on the tube tonight as the team that is the favorite in this game. Obviously, we'll talk about it in a second. I'm excited to get started on a new week here in the fine Monday evening, my friend.
Shout out to Carol Bucks. Thank you very much, WagerWire community, giving us a retweet. We love the WagerWire community as we look forward to a lot of work together, collaborating throughout the rest of December and, of course, in 2024 there. My experience, thanks to SportsMap Radios, thanks to Anthony Pepe, I can tell you, I would never dreamed or visioned something of this magnitude. Friday, we were at the Westin Plaza Hotel. That was headquarters for Media Row for the Army-Navy game. We were right in between a radio station from Tampa, and behind us was Philadelphia. I was in between commercial breaks talking to Hugh Douglas, who was working for the Philly station. To the right of us was 98.5 Beetle was there. Scott Zolak, who did the games Thursday night for the Patriots in Pittsburgh, came in and he was there. And of course, Hardy. In comes Gronk, Rick Neuheisel, some decorated cadets, colonels. It was just incredible. We had who did we have? We had Rob Mankiewicz, two-time Super Bowl champ from the Patriots, on. Um, we had Keenan Reynolds, former Navy quarterback, and played for the Ravens, played for the Patriots. We had him on. Um, Ross Tucker, we had him on, and just Rick Neuheisel was it. It was just you turned around, you're like, oh my god, and just amazing. Got there around 9 a.m. We did our show from 11 to 1. Mark Linehan was co-hosting with us as well. Me, Pepe, and Mark Linehan. Saturday, get to Foxborough, walk by the Barstool big sheding they had going on there. Game day was there. Bill Belichick was there. We had our media credentials. We go up to the press boxes. There again, Ross Tucker, Dan Shaughnessy behind me. I'm talking Red Sox baseball with Dan. Huge buffet, steak tips, chicken, salads. It was amazing. Watched the march. Watched the cadets come in, and kickoff was at 3:15. We went outside around 2:30, cut past two security gates, right onto the field. We had field passes, and just stayed wherever we wanted to on the field. Stanford Steve right to the right of me. I'm joking with Stanford Steve. In comes the paratroopers from Army, then Navy. The balls come in, the flyover, the national anthem, the flag, the pageantry. I just goosebumps. And then in comes Army, in comes Navy. Army comes running right up to us. They're doing kneeling down. They're doing their prayer. Riley, as you see, I'm still smiling. I'm still like, it was just amazing. That's all I can say.
No, and it's one of those games where, if you're in the middle of May or something like that and someone asks you what are the best spectacles in sports, it might not come to your head immediately, but then, when you watch it on TV or it actually is there, it has to be in that conversation regardless of what their records are. I mean, both 5-6, obviously that's a huge game to get to 6-6 this season, but it's a game that holds a special place in my heart. It was a game that I unfortunately never had the pleasure of meeting my grandfather, but my dad always told me it was his favorite sporting event of the year for his entire life. So it was always one that I try to watch with my dad as much as I can, if so, just because it's obviously special for him, and it was able to for a little bit this week, but. No, I'm very jealous. It is definitely on my bucket list to be there, let alone being on the field as you were. So I'm extremely jealous of you, my friend, for both days. But obviously, as someone who loves some good old pageantry, I am very jealous as far as what transpired on Saturday for you there.
And the amazing thing is the Patriots have hosted not a dozen, probably 6 to 8 AFC championship games. Taylor Swift was just in town for 2 or 3 shows this past summer. This ticket was harder to get than any of those combined. And just to be there, to be on the field. Bob Kraft, obviously we know the ties to the Navy Academy Annapolis with Bill Belichick. Been trying forever to get this game, and he finally gets it. And there wasn't an empty seat in the house. And just walking around and looking at the people, just. And here I am in the end zone. I could walk behind the Navy bench. I could walk behind the Army. I could go from wherever the hell I wanted to go. I never could have dreamed of it. I can't thank Anthony. I can't thank Sports Map Radio enough. The funny thing is, December 28th, we'll be doing the show live from Fenway Park, BCSMU Bowl game. February 2nd through the 9th, we will be out in Las Vegas for Radio Row and the Super Bowl. If I only could have chose one, I would have stuck to the Army-Navy game. I'd say, hey, have a great time at Fenway. Enjoy the Super Bowl. But as you said, probably you have bucket lists. The Masters is the top of my bucket list. I've been to everything else. Final Fours are dear to my heart. I just never could imagine actually going to an Army Navy game.
No, that one, and like I said, I think people forget about it, and then it comes, and it's almost always as good as you would like it to be. And as far as the football game itself, obviously it's a game that never has a ton of points for me. And in Big Ten country, that's not exactly a bad sight for me. I enjoy all those types of games as well, but especially in those cases, kind of getting that old school style of football too, that takes you back. That they're still holding on to in a lot of ways. There is always fun there. So. No, I can't state my jealousy more.
Well, and the funny, Riley, as you know, our stake in that game was the Army team total over 14.5. And we get the scoop and score touchdown to get to 17. If you had the first score would be a passing touchdown, congrats. But if you had 2 passing touchdowns in an Army Navy game, really take a bow. And then, of course, Navy gets the score, goes for 2, doesn't get it, but then again stopped on the goal line for the game tire, which would have then kicked the extra point to brought it to OT. I think the year before it was double overtime game, but they left their hearts on the field. And then after the game, the hugs, the handshakes, the disappointment. But the most amazing thing is they're not worried about, where are we going next? Which bowl are we going to or whatever? They all got their assignments already. So they're going, we got wars everywhere in the world. They're not spending Christmas with their family. They're going back to Annapolis. They're going back to Army. They're cleaning out their lockers and they're getting shipped to go serve our country and our freedom. So I don't want to say I've completed the journey and the cycle, the Masters, a few other things, but I could talk for hours here, and I know we got plenty to talk to. I just want to thank you as well for allowing me to share this with you.
Of course, and I'm glad to just soaking up this the backwash of this experience. Honestly, it's because I've never had anyone that I've known that's been to one of these games, so it's awesome for 100%.
We usually do a recap over the weekend. Obviously, that was the big thing for me, Friday and Saturday, just off the top of my head. Your Purdue team, just business like that Alabama team is not the Alabama of the last couple of years. Kind of comical, lands right on the number of 6 there. And that's off the top of my head there. You want to go over any games that or college that might have caught your eye there. And then in the NFL, of course, the offsides in the Kansas City game, he clearly lined offsides. Tony's a knucklehead anyways. Usually the wide receiver lines up, looks to the left, gets the okay from the ref. Never once did that. He was clear. He was lined up where the center was. And I want to ask you this. Was that a design play, or is that Kels just being Kels and impromptu? Draw the guys, and he saw a skeleton right there and just threw it over there.
So I'll say the Tony thing first. Right before our show started, I did see a video that he did look to check to the ref, but I have no idea, and I can't see if the ref – it doesn't look like the ref moves at all. So there is a video of him pointing at the ref to check, but that does not confirm or deny whether the ref said, yes, you are good or not. So I have to imagine, if the ref said that he's good, then obviously they have a gripe for sure, because then he throws a flag on him, or maybe it's the other side. I don't know. But it didn't look like the ref moved at all and made any gesture whatsoever for that sake. But that's not the first. I've seen Kelsey do that once or twice. I don't believe that was designed. And Tony is a great person to have down the field because once he gets the ball in a space like that, it's pretty much over. But there's actually a podcast that part of my Take Barstool podcast, not to give him a free plug or anything, but they talked to Travis Kelce once, and they kind of had jokingly talking to almost any football player or coach say that, trying to influence these guys to do that. And then Kelce is the one who I think has done it maybe once, but not in a situation like that quite. And he said, basically up until I, botch it and have a terrible, terrible play, I kind of have that freedom a little bit. And I think he's earned that freedom and has some ball skills, as far as throwing and awareness. So I don't think it was planned. At least not by the coaching staff. Maybe between, I'm sure, he's telling all his guys, especially a guy like Tony, to, always be ready for it. So from that standpoint, maybe it was playing, but I don't think it was a design play by any means. But I think, and I do think he's going to do that a few more times. And I think around the NFL, in clear situations where you have guys that are trusted, I think you could see it every once in a while a little bit as we go on the rest of these next handful of years, in my opinion.
And listen, the first time any of us, I think, has seen Patrick Mahomes just absolutely lose it. And I saw that in the latter part of the Brady years. You could see it on the sidelines. And I just think you saw the true frustrations of Patrick Mahomes finally coming out. Again, a handful of drops, the stupidity of the offsides. He only can do so much. He only can improvise so much. And when he is about to get sacked and he throws a sidearm flip, or he escapes and then just before the line throws it, and he's turning nothing into something, and these guys are just dropping the passes. The true frustration truly came out yesterday for Patrick Mahomes.
100%, and obviously, 2 losses in a row. Not only, they're obviously still a team that we expect to be in the mix, but 8-5. You've got Denver breathing down their necks now at 7-6, and they've played each other twice, so you don't have that game coming up here. But it's looking like it would be shocking if they found a way to get back to that 1 seed. So it's almost certain that they're going to have, if not one, a couple of road playoff games here. They've got some winnable games down the stretch that they should win, and they'll be favored in all of them. A couple of home games, and then who knows what the Chargers, and if Justin Herbert will be back in the final week. Not sure what to expect there, but they've got the Patriots. They go to New England coming up, and then they've got a couple of home games. But obviously they could run the table and be, what would that be, 12-5? But still, probably unless Miami loses, they're probably going to be in that 3 seed there. Loses tonight, I'm saying, in shocking fashion. Probably going to be that number 3 seed. So, you'll get one playoff game, and then you're going to have to go to either Baltimore or Miami most likely in that week 2. And we haven't seen Patrick Mahomes really have to do that. So, I'm interested to see what that would entail. Obviously, Kelsey is Kelsey, and then behind that, Rajee Rice is coming up, but still a little, not someone you can rely on 100%. And then Tony and MVS still a little shaky at times. So if that defense can play at the level it was a lot of points in the season, then they're still going to have a chance. But if that defense is regressing, and even if the offense steps it up a little bit, this is still a team that's got some flaws to it. So I think everyone expects them to be fine, but until that is the case, there's trouble in paradise as of right now.
Yeah, and the injury to Pacheco, they did not put him on the IR, which means he's missed the first game. Their assumption is he'll probably miss the Patriots game, which the Chiefs are already 10.5 point favorites. Nice little get well spot for them there. I don't know who they got the following week. So he'll either be back maybe in 2 or maybe 3 weeks there. A fresh-legged McKinnon is fine. CEH can move the chains. First-round draft pick a handful of years ago. Ravens escape death. The Rams just keep hanging around, and it took an overtime punt return. Of course, we had them minus 6.5 to land on 6 there, which is comical there. And then Miami, 14-point favorites, again, could be in the 1 seed, Ravens 2, and the Chiefs, like you said, with now Denver sitting there only 1 game behind. Herbert, you can just say this, put a fork in him. No reason to rush back. Just let Staley fall on the sword. We know he won't be there. And I will say this, there's no bigger fan of you than me and you of Justin Herbert. I'm guaranteeing it's going to come out. Eckler's been hurt. I know it's not Kellen Moore. As they were talking about, the Dallas offenses look so much greater without Kellen Moore all of a sudden. But, if I was the Chargers, I would have pulled the plug a couple weeks ago. I would have moved Kellen Moore to the lead seat as the head coach. Let me see what I got with him and then decide what we're going to do after there. So the Chargers, Herbert, don't rush back. Justin Jefferson comes back, 2 catches 1 in the chest. I've seen enough. I like the 7 weeks off. I'll catch you in a week or 2 there. So the injuries just keep piling up, Riley.
They do, and I mean, as far as these quarterback situations, I was listening to something else and I was laughing. I mean, you had as a lot of bad quarterback situations, and then you had a couple situations where Zach Wilson went all the way full circle and was a spark plug, and they win a game there. And Nick Mullins spark plug in a 3-0 victory against the Raiders. What a disgusting game that was. Obviously, I. Get some losses as a Packers fan. Get some losses that help with the Rams and Seahawks. There was hoping for obviously the Vikings won. Still a lot of it in front of the Packers there. But outside of that, Bengals looking, as Jake Browning, gets his feet under him, he's looking better and better. And a Colts team that obviously had a lot of good bounces go their way, kind of get the doors beat off from there. Bengals not dead by any means. That defense, I think, when Burrow goes down, I think a lot of people, and understandably so, write him off. But it's still a defense that the last 2-3 years has had a lot of respect, especially second half of these seasons. And if Jake Browning's able to keep the lights on, as you like to say, that's a team that with a log jam there, if they can win a couple more games, they're going to be in position in Week 18 to maybe win a game and get in there. And kind of reminds me of a the Joe Burrow to Browning situation. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Aaron Rodgers, Matt Flynn situation from 10, 12 years ago or whatever it is. And if he can keep this up, he's going to get himself a nice payday going forward somewhere else. So that's obviously something to watch there. Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. I mean, obviously he's banged up, but offensively, it's a late surge to get themselves closed there. Interesting 2-point conversion to try to go down by 2 before the onside kick there. Obviously, not a ton of chances as far as getting the onside there, but and then a Lions team. I think one of the other things you didn't mention, Lions team that obviously is now looking kind of on the struggle bus. Only 2 games ahead of the Packers and Lions, and Packers and Vikings. If they can't take care of business, one of those teams, obviously, one of those 2 teams has a chance to catch them there. And if I'm optimistic about the Packers and having a huge run here down these last 5 games against an easy schedule, not crazy to think the Lions can lose a couple more games here, whether it be a big run from the Vikings or Packers and get caught here. I know it's been one that you've kind of penciled in for a while, but a little shaky at the top of the NFC North and not at all solidified, especially with the Vikings and Lions playing 2 more times down the road here.
I got to bring this couple things up. 2017, the year that I won 2 national fantasy football titles. In week 13, I had no starting quarterbacks, and I took 3 off the scrap heap, and Blake Bortles I rode to one of those national championships. This year, with the injuries at the quarterbacks, I have Jake Browning and Joe Flacco in a couple spots, and they both scored 30-plus points. Now, Browning left in the fourth quarter almost reminded me of Joe. He was looking at his hand. I don't know if he's popped something. I haven't heard any updates on Browning. I think they play Thursday night too, and I think I'm hearing he might not be ready. It might be McCarron. Of course, there's no more waiver wires there. But I was going to I just lost my train of thought. I had one other lead in for you there. With the
Saturday, by the way, Bengals are on Saturday.
Okay, so maybe that gives us a couple extra days there. Oh, fantasy. Last week of fantasy, one of these leagues, and you talk about getting bit. Trevor Lawrence team with Geno Smith. Now, the report up to, say, 12:55, Lawrence is going to give it a go. High ankle sprain, you don't play. The reason he played is they had a 1-game lead over the Browns. And the thought process is, well, if we don't win the division, we want to make sure we're ahead of the Browns, because if it's now we lose to the Browns, they own the tiebreaker. Lawrence plays. Well, at 3 o'clock, I get the notification that Geno Smith is not playing. So I took the goose egg at quarterback. Lawrence ended up with 26 points. I got Tyreek left today. So if I played Lawrence, I would have need 28 points from Tyreek. He's projected for 26, so I had a shot. Instead, I need the miracle night of 56, I think, from Tyreek. So the thanks for playing. But that's what's been happening with the quarterback situation, Riley.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. I mean, you might have a goofy one tonight where if you're desperate, you're looking at Tommy DeVito. If Tommy's struggling through a quarter or two, you've got Tyrod Taylor back off the IR now, who could step in and fill a spot there if anyone's absolutely desperate, which obviously you're saying a prayer if you have Tommy DeVito, regardless of the situation. But you know what I'm trying to say here. But no, and I mean, not to mention C.J. Stroud. I think it was concussion situation or something along the lines. He might have Davis Mills next week. So, not to mention, I think the Thursday night game is already. I'm drawing a blank. I want to say it's Steelers and, or maybe not Steelers. No, that's Saturday night. Chargers and Vegas on Thursday is a Thursday night game. So you got Easton Stick and Aiden O'Connell there. So. For two teams who the Chargers have put up 13 points in their last 8 quarters, I believe. And the Raiders, I've drawn a blank what they did before that, but a big old goose egg at home against the Vikings yesterday. So, there's a lot of teams that are obviously slipping down. There's some log jams going around here, but I think it'll settle itself. There's going to be some interesting AFC implications because a lot of these teams play each other, but. Yeah, obviously, having a healthy quarterback has got you in a better situation as opposed to some of these other teams, obviously, here.
2 games in Monday night, and of course, I don't know why we have 2 games. And number 2, they both kick off at 8:15. I know they're both on the East Coast. A little common sense, maybe a 6:30, 8:30 start would have been a little. But there's 2 games: Tennessee and Miami. Miami right around a 14-point favorite against the Titans. Derrick Henry is apples and oranges when it's home and away splits. This Miami team, their team totals at 30.5, juiced under -119, and Tennessee 16.5, juiced under -136. This has got the classic 30-13, 30-14, 28-14, 28-13. I think you're going to see an early Tua to Tyreek. Let's get Tyreek going. I need to get one of my teams into. I have one in for sure. I need A-Chain to get 11 points tonight. It will be my second team in. Riley, it's a 3-week race. First prize, $250,000. So at the end, I could have one team in. I could have maybe 3 or 4 in. I'll obviously tomorrow give everyone the update. They take your 14 weeks. They divide your score into 14 weeks. If you averaged 145, you start with 145. There was 4,800 teams. 720 will make the dance. In 2017, I started at 357 out of 520 teams, posted a 219 and followed up with a 185 and then a 190 for the big $197,000 score with 2. I won another contest as well. But my point is $250,000 on the line. So we got at least one in. Let's get A-Chain to 11 points or better. We'll get the second one in. Then we'll see about the couple other teams there. But I really want to go and give you the stage. Green Bay and the Giants. What are you seeing for a number 6, 6.5, 7, somewhere in there? Team totals 20.5 over for your Green Bay team, 16 under -118 for the Giants. I will say this: the rise of Jordan Love came with the last 2 weeks of Christian Watson. So even though I'm rooting for you, I think you'll find a way to win. I think the Giants are alive. And I just think your offense takes a step back. No Christian Watson, no Aaron Jones again. So Jaden Reed, Dubs, Wicks, and the rest of the supporting cast need to really, take that next step. But it's your Packers, and the stage is yours.
No, you did a great job of kind of prefacing some of my general thoughts on it. I do feel good about the Packers winning this game, but it's not that type of concern that I have. That the kind of concern that usually leads to your team, ended up laying an egg. But one thing that might concern me is that this Giants defense, even during some of the stretch, obviously there's a couple big numbers up on the board against the Cowboys, and then I think one other team there. This Giants defense has actually played pretty scrappy and at times really well. In this last stretch where Tommy DeVito, Tyrod Taylor, whatever it is there. So, like you said, I do think their offense could be slowed down here. The Packers' offense there. From a Packers, I do feel good about the Packers' defense tonight against this Giants team. While obviously it's a Packers defense that run defense hasn't been very good. If Tyrod Taylor, if Tommy DeVito is coming out and is slinging the rock and dicing us up a little bit, then I'm going to be nervous, and they should be able to, get Saquon going and move the rock, and then we're really in trouble there. The Packers defense has had at times better success against the run when they're not as concerned about the pass. And so if Tommy DeVito, isn't been able to move the ball, throwing incompletions, then I feel pretty good about this Packers defense there. But then, as I said, I think earlier in the show, if Tommy DeVito was, I don't know what type of short, long leash he's going to have here tonight, how healthy Tyrod Taylor is, how much, if at all, he's, been prepped on the game plan. So if Tommy DeVito is struggling, you might get a quick look to Tyrod Taylor here, and the Giants go that route there, and it's a different look completely there. So, no, I'm with you. I think the total, 37, whatever it is kind of fair there. So, I do kind of think it could be a one possession game. And at the end of the day, I feel comfortable that the Packers will be able to move the ball enough here. I like A.J. Dillon tonight. It's A.J. Dillon season, as I typically say about this time. The weather gets colder. He is. I mean, the numbers are the last 2 years are pretty consistent and back up the fact that in November, late November, December, and January, he is a lot more effective and harder to bring down and less fun to tackle. And so, if we're going to a touchdown prop, just to get to that point, A.J. Dillon would be one that I'm interested in and have had a lot of success in these later season games with him getting there. Especially with no Aaron Jones, as you said there. So, no, I obviously somebody's going to have to step up. Dobbs, as much as he's been a nice possession guy and had been good at the goal line, hasn't really broken out as far as being a down to down or a series to series, go-to guy. So if he's coming out and looking like that, and he's got 6+ catches or something like that, then this offense should be fine. But somebody's going to have to step up, and I'm not holding my breath for Romeo, if I'm being honest with you. Like I said, wouldn't surprise me if he gets in the end zone with a nice goal line try there. But, no, it's going to be, as you said, Wicks. Malik Heath is another guy that, I'm looking at some of these role players who have gotten their number called the last few weeks for the Packers, and without Christian Watson could have a bigger role here. Malik Heath being one of them. Dontavian Wicks being another one, but his name is starting to get out there a little bit, and his numbers seem a little inflated to me. But Malik Heath, I think, is 10, 11.5 on his receiving total, 20% snap count the last few weeks. Watson goes down at the very end of that game. Without Watson, I think Malik Heath is just going to be flat out just on the field a little bit more, 40% of the time as opposed to 20% of the time. So, you give me 1-2 catches, I think I feel good about Malik Heath as far as if we're talking props. So, interested in that one. Not a lot of respect the last few weeks to Patrick Taylor, their number 2 running back without Aaron Jones there. He's at 14.5 or so. We got up in the 20s last week, so that's another one where if the Packers are moving the ball, either A.J. Dillon's struggling and they're going to try Patrick Taylor, or A.J. Dillon's moving the ball well and going to need a spell. So I feel good about that. Patrick Taylor there, another backup running back prop that I legitimately like tonight. So I am staying away from, like you said, one of those, one of these guys is going to have a nice game, but out of Dobbs, Reed, and whether it's Wicks or tight ends, somebody's going to – a couple of these guys aren't going to be putting up big numbers. And with the last 2 games being Thanksgiving, a big win against a Lions team that's leading the division, and last week on Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs, some of these numbers are obviously a little inflated right now. So I'm staying pretty far away from the Dobbs, the Jaden Reeds. Not to say that one or both can't have a nice day. But, I'm going to some of those lower-level guys. Like I said, with Malik Heath, Patrick Taylor, and then getting a nice A.J. Dillon touchdown around the goal line there. So aside from that, I guess I'll go I do think it's going to be 20-21 for Green Bay, and then I'll go 20 or 21-17. I guess is kind of where I'm at with this game here, Jeff.
Yeah, I'll take my swing, and if you got the prices in front of you, I'm shooting for the moon of all moons here. A couple of weeks ago we hit on Justin Watson, and I did hit last week as well, last Monday. Not on the first touchdown, but he did score last weekend as well. For the Giants, I'm swinging for the moon here. We're going to go first touchdown and anytime touchdown, Jalen Hyatt. That's going to be
Hyatt. Him and Tommy DeVito had a nice little connection there. 425, not bad.
What about for the first TD?
17-1 plus 1,700 there.
All right, so that's on the Giants side, and listen, I think A.J. Dillon obviously is in play. Obviously, Jaden Reed usually steps up here. Love has looked great, but I'm going to go here first touchdown for Green Bay. I'm going to a little curveball here. What's Love got to do with it and anytime touchdown?
I was just about to bring it up myself. He's been ever since I think you called for it. They've done a couple more design runs, but they've been letting him get out a little bit more. 19-1 first touchdown score, 450 anytime. I might have to do a little action on Jordan Love. I do like that here tonight.
Well, like I said, we got 19-1, 17-1. I like Hyatt. I think he's sneaky. Again, I'm a big Jaden Reed fan. I got him in a few spots. I had Watson in a couple key spots, and I really liked what I'd been seeing of late. Just trying to kind of got caught in between, makes the catch, rounds the corner, and he knew he couldn't go out of bounds. And as he was trying to slide to go down, something popped, and that was all she wrote there. So, so Love and Jalen Hyatt for me.
Yeah, Love and Jalen Hyatt for you. I'll go A.J. Dillon and did I say? I don't think I said a Giants score. Saquon Barkley plus 100. Maybe I'll leave that one on the desk there. Outside of him, man, I'm jealous that you took Jalen Hyatt because that is the one guy out of this offense that I have been enjoying watching too. So
you can double down. That's okay.
I'll double down with you on Jalen Hyatt. I'll go A.J. Dillon and Jordan. I think we're just on the same page today with these. And then, like I said, I actually think I'm going to take a little action on maybe a little Malik Heath just over 11.5. One or two catches get the job done there. Just making that play based off the assumption that he's going to be on the field, double the amount that he's been on the field the last 3-4 weeks there, and then taking another swing. It's I'm 1-1 on it. I think he fell a half yard short on Thanksgiving, Patrick Taylor there, but it was 16.5. So I'll take another swing on Patrick Taylor over 14.5 this week.
And in the other game, Tennessee-Miami, again, I have no numbers in front of me. The chalk of all chalk obviously will be a Tyreek anytime touchdown. I'll stay on the ground because I'm rooting for him. I have Mozart in some spots, but I'll do a Devin A-Chain first time, anytime. What's his numbers?
On this book right here, minus 115 for the anytime 550 first touchdown.
All right, and for Tennessee, I'm going to go contrarian. I think D-Hop on a primetime game does find the end zone there, so I'm going to go 2 on the Tennessee. First time and any time on D-Hop?
265. You and I, that was my pick out of this one for the Titans. 265 and then 18-1 for the first time for D-Hop.
And my sneaky one there is Tajay Spears. The numbers for Derrick Henry at home are been great of late. On the road, he sucks. I think it's the Spears show this at Miami.
5-1 anytime. 35-1 first time touchdown there.
So there's some numbers there. Some great Christmas presents there.
No, I like it. And I liked Spears as well. In general, there. So and Hopkins was one I was interested in. And then this is just I'm not saying I'm not saying the Titans are live to win this game, but it's a situation where the last few years, the ship has been sinking slowly, little by little each year, and last year obviously a little bit worse for the Titans. But even going back to last year, I don't remember what their final season record was, but there was a couple points where you kind of hit rock bottom with your perception of the Titans, and then they show up and smack you in the mouth. I think it happened to my Packers, who obviously weren't a Super Bowl contending team or a playoff contending team like the Dolphins are. But if the Dolphins are rolling into this game ho-hum thinking they're going to, just walk to a victory, and the Titans come in playing that smash mouth, smacking in the mouth, and have the full-fledged, effort that, we've seen them have at times under Vrabel, I would say that they are covering this number and keep it to a 7 to 10 point game. But wouldn't shock me if you get kind of like what Carolina did to the Dolphins, and it's quick 14-0 or whatever it was, 21-7. I don't remember what it was. And you're kind of scratching your head, and then the Dolphins race, score, and load it up there. So I am leaning towards the Dolphins kind of being stymied a little bit as compared to the 30-31 total, whatever it is, and maybe staying in that 24-27 range. So leaning towards the Dolphins team total under, but I've watched this Titans offense a few times with Will Levis now, and it has not been all too inspiring, especially as he said on the road there. So not holding my breath too much for the Titans to show up offensively, but wouldn't surprise me if their defense had a couple tricks up their sleeve, I guess.
And I'm glad you brought up the Titans sneakily smacking them out. I think it was a couple of years ago. They came into Foxborough and of course, want him to be the next Patriot coach if I had my choice. But we'll go on from there. It's a short. I'm going to do it backwards here, Riley. Short slate in the NHL. Everyone, grab your pens. I'll give you some team totals to take a look at. The big cherry on top again. This is the swing of all swings. Toronto team total over 3.5. You can get them if they get to 4 or better. Plus 141 tonight. They're at New York Islanders. Arizona, Buffalo, everyone knows where we stand with the ECSI VIPs there. Kind of comical on this one. Dallas has been a sieve offensively of late. They play the Red Wings. You can get the Detroit team total over 2.5, minus 107. You can get the Dallas team total over 3.5, minus 113 there. And then Calgary comes to Colorado. Something smells here, but you can get Colorado team total to 4 at minus 101 today. And I like the Calgary team total under 2.5, plus 100 there. In college, I'm going to be as unique as anyone here. San Fran is playing New Orleans tonight. The Dons have been very good to us in the past. We're 1-0 with them this year. Take a look at their team total over 84.5 against New Orleans. And if you're feeling froggy, Gonzaga plays Mississippi State tonight. No Jerry Rice for Mississippi State Valley. I did see them against UConn, and I think UConn boat raced them. Zags will boat race them as well. The only downside is I think it's on Friday night. They play a game against UConn, which they're going to be seeking some revenge. But you can get a Gonzaga team total over 90.5 or 91. I like them to get maybe 100 today. So that's my quick wrap up there in college and NHL. If you have anything to add.
I don't have too much to add. It's not my type of slate that I usually fire away on. But Gonzaga in a bounce back spot though. The loss, I don't remember what night of the week that was, Friday, Saturday, whatever it was. But this is a good bounce back opportunity slash hope. I mean, tough to really overlook and lay an egg against this team here. I've jokingly paid attention to the Delta Devils the last few years. They, at times over the last few years, were, at least based off our Ken Pom rankings that we liked, the dead last team. I think they have elevated the last 2 years. Last year, actually, I don't remember, just 2-3 years ago, it didn't matter if it was plus 26, plus 40, plus 50. They were a meal ticket to fail not cover, and I was betting against them. I don't remember if it was last year or the year before. They kind of flipped it and, had that stigma around them, and then they were covering some 26s and 30s. So not interested in it tonight, but it is at least a program that is special in itself there for being pretty horrific there. So, no, I don't have too much to add. Illinois, I think to top off your earlier college basketball recap, Illinois, Tennessee. I think you might have had, if I saw on your alerts, Tennessee in that game, if I'm not mistaken there. And Illinois still looking like a dark horse Big Ten contender, but obviously still just needs to show up on the road, show up in some of these bigger games against some of these more talented athletic teams, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
And it was a perfect spot for Tennessee because your Illinois, I think, won a big marquee matchup in overtime. And I just thought it was a perfect letdown spot. And I got a number like 5.5, and I think it was actually steamed to as high as 7. And I think that's where it landed on 7. So those Saturday marquee games, you got to get in early on some of those favorites. And before we dig in, big NBA slate. Congrats to the NBA, their in-season, mid-season championship. Zion versus LeBron. No Bucks, no Celtics. Pacers. I'm sorry, no Zion. The Pacers, Halliburton, and LeBron. LeBron was engaged. He wanted to make sure he was the first one to hold up that trophy in the first, in-season, mid-season NBA championship. The extra $500,000 that he won. Each teammate probably went to the Spearmint Rhino or something later that night in Vegas. Then he was at USC the next day, I think yesterday, Bronny making his debut. hitting a three I saw early in the game there. And I think USC actually lost, and it might have been a play-in game or a buy-in game or something crazy there. So hats off to the NBA. Hats off to Bronny, LeBron. Congrats. Big slate in the NBA. You can pick and choose. You can dance where you want. The stage is yours, my brother.
Yeah, we can run through it fairly quickly there. My Bulls in action against the Bucks. Bulls, is it 4 in a row that they've won now without Zach LaVine? Now on the road with an 11.5. 4 in a row and 4 covers. One of those being a victory against the Bucks in Chicago. Pardon me. And now turning around, and now we're 11.5-point dogs here to Milwaukee, coming off of the semifinal loss to the in that in-season tournament to the Pacers there. Depending on, I mean, this is just a weird few weeks here before Christmas as we get to kind of a big culmination of Christmas Day. Now, in this case, this season's case, after the in-season tournament with a team like the Bucks, where is their motivation? Are they back and geared up for this week and next 2-3 weeks heading into the second half of the NBA season, or are they kind of ho-hum here for a few weeks here? I think this Bucks team is going to be geared up here. Would have respected the Bulls at a single-digit number here, 9.5 or less, if I was really interested in the Bulls. And I've told you I've got my my auto play that's 2-0 this year on the Bulls and Bucks games with a couple Vooch threes that this season have been at plus money. So I've gotten 2-0. So I'm contemplating, if you've been following with me on the 2-0 Vooch threes against the Bucks, maybe maybe take your money and run in there with these last couple of games. But you got plus money, so no matter what, you're going in the green there for the Vooch threes, the auto play that maybe my only auto play that I have in my sports betting repertoire there. But Orlando, Cleveland, what is it? 1.5. Orlando minus 1.5, 2 here. We're seeing some of these totals even out here. You and I have had some good success on the overs and the unders. Last week, I don't remember which day it was. That one day where we said under. A lot of them went under, aside from maybe 1 or 2. And now we're kind of seeing some of these totals even out a little bit. But you've got a Cleveland team that's starting to turn things around and start to play some really good basketball. So another one that I'm kind of pumping the brakes on, but an Orlando team that I typically respect when you're getting on paper kind of a close matchup. Respect them 3, 4, 5 at home when they are at home here, and it's only 1.5 here. So kind of lean to the Cavs. What about you on that game there?
Yeah, I had a true number of Cleveland minus 1.5 for the 224. Now Orlando minus 1.5 with the 227. Mobley is out for Cleveland. I assume that was probably the trigger to get the flip there. And I think it was let me just pull the mouse back over there. I think it was Suggs that was questionable. LeVert out, Mobley out, and LeVert and Mobley, yes, and over for Orlando. Suggs questionable. Isaac is probable. So again, the flip there. Cleveland, Orlando been playing great ball. My buddy, who's a Kevin Goodrich, who's a season ticket holder, for the last few years with the Celtics. Surprisingly how well the resale market is going for him. I just texted me earlier today that the Magic game went for like $250 per, and it's just crazy the money people are spending to get into an NBA regular season game. If you want my honest opinion, you would think that this is an Orlando number. I think that's what they think. They want you. They're only 1.5-point favorites. To me, my eyes go to this is a Cleveland number. I would rather see Orlando minus 2.5, 3.5. One of these money lines you can get minus 118. Just win, baby. They had been playing some great ball. I think you're going to see the rise of Cleveland to get back into form. I lean Cleveland tonight.
Yeah, you and I are definitely on the same page with that one. 3 in a row for Cleveland. Couple, and one of them being Orlando, but that one in Cleveland, 4.5-point favorites for Cleveland there now in Orlando here. I'm with the Cleveland Surge as well. It's a team that even without Mobley, I mean, it's a team that we've had projections of being a top 5 team in the NBA. So obviously a team that you kind of expect to start winning some games there. Miami 12-10 at Charlotte 7-13. Only a 4-point spread in this one. I as far as players out, I think most Jimmy Butler is in. Rozier in for Charlotte. Brandon Miller looks like he's in the starting lineup there. Charlotte team that has not been very good. They've been obviously back and forth, 7-13. Miami team that's been very back and forth here. So this one this one feels like a Hornets number to me. With Miami as much as they're not lighting the world on fire, they're still 12-10, still the Eastern Conference defending champs here up against a team that is perceived as a bad team here for the most part. Not in that bottom barrel bad that the Pistons and Spurs are in, obviously, but still a subpar team. So this one felt short to me.
Yeah, I mean the Heat are two teams. There's the regular season Heat, and then there's the playoff Heat, and so that's what you're going to get: 12-10, win 2, lose 1, win 2. The grab ass Heat, as I like to say it. Team totals right now moving as we speak. Miami 112 under, -111. Charlotte 108 over, -111. I like Charlotte. I think it's a Charlotte number. I'd grab the 4.5. I'd take a little pizza and beer money on them to win the game outright, and I'd even do a little pizza and beer money on them to get over 108 or 108.5, whatever you get for a team total.
Yep, I'm definitely in that one as well. Another one that, as we say, don't like to get in front of the train. They've had some numbers that look like it is a Pistons number. But obviously the losing streak, I believe, at 19 games for this Pistons team, 2-20, playing that Pacers team coming out of Vegas. So a lot of signs would point to the Pistons at a 7-point dogs against this good Pacers team, the way they're playing and what they just obviously runner up, but just accomplished. Again, not trying to get in front of it. I can think of a handful of other similar situations that I can recollect that feel similar, that You just all signs point to this team covering, but again, would not. You got a 247 total. That is very much more of a reflection of the way Indiana plays as opposed to the Pistons. So if the Pacers are dictating this game, and it's they did get a 1 day of rest. Obviously, I would still be surprised, kind of, if the Pacers put up 130, but the way this Pistons team is playing, it should not shock anyone if they can't even cover this game here tonight. But I will lean towards the Pistons for what it's worth.
I had a 6.5 with a 246.5. Now those numbers have been flying over when you're getting those. It's now 7 with the 247.5. Team totals: Pacers 127 over, -114. Detroit 120. And there's a 120.5 here. If you like the Pistons, very simply take the 7.5. Sprinkle a little beer and pizza money on them to win and stop the bleeding. And number 2, take that 120 and tiptoe it over with the team total there. Wouldn't be shocked to see the Pacers a little lagging. Don't forget they had to beat the Celtics, then they beat the Bucks, and then they get bounced by the Lakers. So this is a perfect flat spot for the Pistons to stop the bleeding. Maybe Joe Dumars, maybe Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer could come crawling out. The microwave, something to stop the bleeding. But come on, Pistons, let's get a win here, will you? No
kidding. And it's another one that if the Pacers are up by 20-30 at halftime, then the Pistons will probably give up. If it's a 5, even if the Pacers are up by 5-10 or something like that, it might be another one that you look at at the live line with the team that you would expect to wear down in the second half, potentially with the travel that they've had to Vegas, and then who knows if they were maybe going out themselves even after the loss on Saturday in Vegas. Who knows? So like you said, I am not firing away on this one, but I will lean towards the Pistons. They should, as you say, stop the bleeding, and I agree with you there. So another one that was interesting, we've talked about this Nuggets team at times flexing their muscles and looking like the championship contender and defending champs, and at times kind of going through the motions and looking like they're not too interested in playing these regular season games. They've got 3 losses in a row right now. They are on the road in Atlanta, who also has 3 losses in a row right now. They're 9-12. No DeAndre Hunter for the Atlanta Hawks here. But this one at least 2.5, 3. This one did feel like with an under 500 Atlanta team, Another very high number, 242, obviously here. But if we're talking spreads here, this one felt like a Hawks number here with the defending champs in town.
Yeah, I had a 2.5 with a 238.5, now juiced up to 241.5 with a 2.5. Denver favored. Jamal Murray is probable. Kankar is out. And for the Hawks, Hunter Johnson Gue and someone else is out as we speak. Buffkin, again, no one of significance. To me, what really sticks out here would be the under. Yes, you can get a 242 in DraftKings, a 242.5 at Caesars, New Jersey. I like the under 242 or 242.5. And if you had to sprinkle a little something on that game, I like the Nuggets plus 2.5. I even think they probably could win this game outright.
Yep. No, I am with you 100% there. Wait, who did you? I'm sorry. Who did you say you were leaning to winning outright?
Hawks.
Okay, that's okay. I thought I misunderstood you for a second there, but no, we are on the same page 100% there. Other one that looked a little funky. You do have no Kyrie. It sounds like here a heel contusion for old Kyrie Irving there, going to miss an undisclosed amount of time for the Mavericks there. The 6-15 Memphis Grizzlies should be a few games away from getting John Morant back, but plus 1.5 for the Grizzlies here. You and I have talked about them. I've a lot of their numbers trigger my senses here, whether it's not buying into what they're trying to sell you, or in certain cases having some success getting in their positive side there. They did just lose to the Wolves, I believe Friday night, but before that had won 3 out of 4, covered a handful of games there. Just played Dallas about a week or so ago, took care of them 108-94. But Dallas 2 wins, even despite. Even without Kyrie, still does feel like Luka is in the lineup as of right now. Still does feel like a Dallas number up against the 6-15 Grizzlies team here.
No, I agree. I had 3 with the 229, now 1.5 with the 227.5. I'd respect Memphis more, believe it or not, as a favorite. I know it's Dallas. If you like Dallas tonight, just play the money line, grab them minus 118, just win, baby. I'm looking at some team totals. Right now, you can get Dallas at 114 or 114.5 over. The Grizz at a 113 or 113.5. First one to 113 or 14 wins this game. Slight lean Dallas, but I might look at a team total before I dove into a side here.
Yeah, there's been a lot of Grizzlies numbers that at least kind of sparked my brain, and then I look deeper into it, and it's tough to sell on these Grizzlies sometimes. But we'll see what happens when they get John Morant back. See what happens with this team going forward there. Another one that's interesting, definitely worth watching the injury report out of this one. Minnesota is in New Orleans tonight. New Orleans is a 4-point favorite here. This one I believe has climbed, and Anthony Edwards is questionable. Would not be surprised if that is one of the reasons why you're seeing this number. Nonetheless, though, New Orleans, a team that I have had some success with the last couple of weeks at certain times of stepping up and winning some of these games. Another team that I believe that when healthy should take care of business and start to win 60, 65% of their games going forward or so, something along those lines. So depending on the injury report, we'll see what happens. But another one that with a 17-4 Minnesota Timberwolves team, who is the best record in the NBA, not a lot of people giving them credit and talking about them too much here so far. This Timberwolves team, but obviously underdogs here in New Orleans. Felt like a Pelicans number, but again, I'm also grown biased towards this Pelicans team because they've proved me right when I buy into them. And now only 12-11, so I think there's going to be some time to get some value out of them if what I'm saying and them playing better is correct. But this one did feel like a Pelicans number.
Yeah, I'm looking at some numbers there. 222 with the 2 now, circa 223 with the 3.5. There are some 4s floating around on social media on Bet Online, FanDuel, Pennsylvania, South Point at flat 4, Buckeye, and Superbook as well. Team totals 113 right now for the Pelicans, 109.5 for Minnesota. My lean in this game would be Minnesota team total under 109.5.
I like that, and yeah, a nice regression from them offensively there is definitely a good spot there. Um, a team that in general I think is still is good and obviously is playing really well, but a team that I don't think anyone would be shocked if they regressed. But at the end of the day, got to give them some credit for what they've done to this point there. But any of these other games, we got some bigger spreads on the board. OKC a big favorite at home against Utah. Houston 9.5-point favorites at home against San Antonio. Another team that 10-9 Houston. I haven't been paying attention as closely to what their spreads are night in, night out. It's a team that I haven't been able to figure out there, but don't want to lean towards both 16, 19 game losing streaks to end tonight, but one of those losing streaks is going to end tonight. That's the prediction I'll make. One of those two losing streaks will come to a fanatical end tonight, but wouldn't surprise me if we've got 17 and 20 down the pipe tomorrow.
Well, there you go. There's your beer and pizza. This is your stocking stuffer. Beer and pizza parlay is to take the San Antonio Spurs money line with the Detroit Pistons money line. Beer and pizza, and I'm telling you, could fill some stockings if they both outright win tonight.
Hey, Pistons are only plus 225, but I think you're right. Spurs 310. The combination 12 to 1, 13 to 1. So maybe throw a Hornets in there too, and you've got a nice big one there. But aside from that, that's all I got of the NBA, my friend.
Closing thoughts.
Nothing too crazy. Obviously, geared up, ready to go for a Monday Night Football doubleheader. As you said, I think my dream job, and this isn't an actual job, is just to be a scheduling consultant for all of the major sports leagues. I think that would be my dream job. Just a jack of all trades, all 7 leagues that I follow. Give me a scheduling job, and I can say, why in God's name would you have 2 NFL games happening at the same time when you could stagger them a little bit and more people get to enjoy more of those games? But I digress. Obviously, you know what's going to be on my TV, but I've got some I've got multiple TVs, so I have the luxury of watching more than one game. But aside from that, kind of a little bit of a lull in college basketball. I'm sure there's going to be some nice games here and there, but still geared up, ready to break down some of those games. But obviously, when we got some smaller slates, it's easy to hit on some of those. But nonetheless, geared up, ready to rock for another week, my friend. I will be around, as I told you, I am tied up on Wednesday. But aside from that, good to go with all these other days of the week, as it looks like right now. So ready to rock and roll going into this week. And I think the only thing we didn't talk about. Actually, a couple things that we didn't talk about, but it's over an hour. I don't want to keep us going, but obviously the Ohtani news is the only thing we didn't mention, as well as the Live Golf news is the other thing that happened over the weekend. That I don't want to say got swept under the rug, but didn't have as much fanfare going around it with the Live Golf news there.
No, and 2 we can close and wrap that up. You're right. Again, these shows are probably more dedicated towards an hour and a half, and shame on me. The John Rahm news. Listen, when the Live Tour Association came, they went rabbit hunting. They tried to get as many big name people and drop as many bags on these guys. And for the lower feeds on the PGA, this was a chance for them to take care of their family. They weren't able to, if you don't make the cut, you don't get paid. And it costs you money to travel and to spend, weekends, weeks at these golf courses. So I understood that. And the Brooks Koepkas of the world, the Phil Mickelsons of the world, they come off as the villains. And then with the potential merger, the PGA has allowed you to go and play on the Live, come back and play in the majors. And Rory, unlike some of the others that have crossed that bridge, respects John Rahm's game. Disappointed that he won't be around for the regular match, for the regular events. He'll still see him. But what Rory made it real clear, though, was the Ryder Cup. And that's what separates Rory. And you saw when the Europeans beat the shit out of the U.S., what the Ryder Cup means versus the U.S. team putting their best 10 and, high-fiving and cheering and when they win a hole versus when, I talked about the Army Navy where you could feel it. That's the same thing. When you go, listen, I've been at a Ryder Cup. I was at Brookline. I was there when Justin Leonard, made the 60-foot putt and, you could hear the roars a mile along. I saw the practice round. I saw the opening round. My point is, John Rahm got $550 million. He still can play the way I understand it on all four majors. That villain, he's not looked and frowned upon like Koepka, like Dustin Johnson, like Phil Mickelson. He's still one of the greatest golfers in the world. He just got paid, as he said, he's taking care of his family.
Right, and I don't know if you saw Finau and Tyrrell Hatton had been rumored to be on their way as well. So starting to get a comparable roster at the top, obviously there. So I'm interested to see how it shakes out, and whether or not the merger that initially was agreed on. Obviously, that's kind of on the rocks as well. So I don't know what's going to happen as far as that is concerned. Obviously, you have the hardcore golf fans that are going to watch as much as they possibly can, but then you got the middle of the pack fans that I'm not sure what that's going to look like as far as viewership. The splits on these, especially as the talent is coming more split down the middle. So I'm curious what goes down there and whether or not the potential changes that Rory said to the Ryder Cup opens the floodgates for some of these European guys to make the jump over there. So I'm interested to see how it goes. I know I've had a few friends that went to a Live Golf event. I think the Live Golf Chicago event, putting quotations on it because I don't think it was within an hour of Chicago, but nonetheless, Live Golf Chicago event, and said they had a fun time and it was a wild event. So obviously, it's starting to turn some heads, and then obviously you still have the moral aspect of it that some people are still standing on, and in some cases rightfully so there. So I have no idea how it's going to play out, but we're far from the end of it as far as that is concerned there.
Yeah, and then Cantlay is an unhappy character as well, so keep an eye on Cantlay. I don't know what's going on with Xander there. For the showy news, listen, we've talked for months upon months upon months. I've said it here 10,000 times. It was very clear and simple. The Dodgers go to Showy's agent after he wasn't getting traded and says, hey, go do the tour, go listen to everyone. When you're done, hand us what your best offer is, and then we'll give you 10 or 20% more, and we'll put the Dodger blue on you. With the Tommy John surgery, with him not able to pitch the first year, I thought for sure that the number was going to start with a 6. I really thought the Giants, like Aaron Judge, who they offered $50 million more than the Yankees, they would be the runner-up. Rumor has it, per sources, the runner-up says we weren't at 699, so don't worry about it. Where I'm going with this, I never, ever thought it would start with a 7. God bless you. But million, everyone's saying 70 million a year. He on the books, it's going to be between 40 and 50 million a year. He's getting between 20 and 30 million per year deferred. Smart move on Showy's part, helps the Dodgers and the luxury tax, not that they need it. So they get Shohei for, I don't know, 50 or 40 per, and he gets 20 to 30 million for 10 years deferred. So let's just say Shohei's a rich man, and the top of the order for the Dodgers will go something like Mookie, Shohei, Freeman. So as I said on my other show, I'll say it again. I'm just going to walk the bases loaded and start at number 4.
Yeah, that is a fair assessment as far as that one. No, I can't add too much to it, but never would have expected the 7th, like you said there. And no, I'm interested to see how it goes. I mean, of all the teams that obviously might not be hurt by the deferrals if things go wrong, then Dodgers are one of those teams. So I'm sure they'll try and add some pitching depth, but it's been a couple months obviously since I've been in baseball mode, obviously, but pitching staff could get healthier as well. But no, Dodgers probably aren't done yet either. Is the crazy thing. Whether or not they'll have a groundbreaking move beyond this year, I don't know, but definitely not done as far as building this team for 2024.
No, and they said they're in the Yamamoto sweepstakes as well, where they're going to give him 300. So they're going to spend $1 billion in the offseason. I'll go on record here. 5:59 on December 11th, Monday. Yamamoto will sign with the San Francisco Giants for over $300 million. That's where I'll go with that.
Yeah, they're trying to. I mean, you and I are in agreement there. They're trying to spend some money on somebody. They don't want to strike out 100% there over these last couple of years with Shohei Judge and whatever else. So now they've got to make a move, not only because they've been trying to make a move, but you've got the Dodgers supplanting themselves even further for the next decade. So no, obviously a franchise that doesn't want to be second fiddle there. So they're going to try and do something.
Tomorrow, I'm waiting for confirmation from Travis or Zach or both. If you're watching the end of the show or anyone in the Wager Wire community, I sent a text earlier. So usually 10:30 a.m. Tuesday morning, Travis or Zach or both from Wager Wire will be here for the breakfast bankroll tomorrow. And at 1 o'clock, I will be with Pop DiBiase, co-host in the NFL Bet Exchange. At 3 o'clock, Andrew McGinnis will be here from Wager Talk. We'll be talking some pucks, props, and picks there. 4:30, myself and Riley will be back, or give us a few minutes there. For the closing bell, our good friend Russell Saylor reports Jeff Passan is reporting that Ohtani is deferring $680 million until the deal is done. So I'll tell you what, if we asked him for a loan, I think he might give us a shot. Who knows? So Shoei, if you're listening, send us an email to eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com. We'd love to decorate the halls. We'd love to have you on the show. Same with Jeff Passan as well. So from myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Investor, the one and only Riley Magnuson at Riley_Magnuson, the one. We wish everyone a blessed day. Russell, thank you so much for all your support and trust. We'll be back at it hopefully tomorrow morning with Wager Wire and Travis and Zach. Otherwise, have a blessed evening. Have some fun. Let's cash some tickets. Let's hope for a couple big ones on the first touchdowns, and we will see you soon.